What's going on, everyone? So it is appearing that Paul George's time with the Los Angeles Clippers could be nearing an end. Right? They're very likely going to keep James Harden, already extended Kawhi Leonard. Right? They're kind of strapped as far as like what they can do as far as another star. Obviously, they could look to trade Paul George in the offseason and work out some type of sign and trade if there's another disgruntled star. They have options, but just all signs are kind of pointing to Paul George nearing his end. He hasn't gotten an extension. News is really ramping up about him likely departing one way or another, whether it's the Clippers making the decision or Paul George making the decision. I think a lot of it kind of hinges on this season. Right? Like if the Clippers win the championship, then it's like you got to bring everybody back. You got a new stadium. You're going to hang the banner. Right? You want to keep the team intact. But if they say lose in the first round or another second round exit like they are throughout history, then I could see them going, okay, we need to kind of figure stuff out. We need to kind of retool. Let's move off of Paul George, try to maybe see if we can get some assets back, get something back for PG, in some type of trade. If they have a bunch of success, or even if they get, let's say they get to the finals, but they lose, maybe they keep him, right? Because it's like, man, we were able to do this. What does another full year of PG, Kawhi, James Harden look like with the pieces that we have? It's just, I think how this season plays out is going to kind of dictate what ultimately happens with Paul George. Now, there are times where the Clippers look like the best team in the league. They go and trade for James Harden, look atrocious. Then James Harden hits that and 1-3 that kind of just changed the momentum of that team. They were just running through the NBA, and now they've kind of crashed back down into earth. A lot of just like antics, James Harden trying to block the Kawhi shot, stuff like that. It's just how serious is this team? And even if they do win, Paul George could very likely go, hey, you know what? Like, you guys didn't want to extend me. You guys were looking and nearly traded me this past offseason, which a team that could very likely pick up Paul George this offseason is the team that almost traded for him this past offseason, which is the New York Knicks. The Knicks, based on reports, take everything as you may. Everything's kind of speculation until it's actually finalized. Obviously, it went through or it didn't go through, but the New York Knicks were basically at the goal line to acquire Paul George this offseason based on reports. They just thought the price was too much. They were just like, we don't want to sell the farm for Paul George. And so could a team like the Knicks go, well, now the price is way cheaper, so let's go try to get Paul George. And Paul George, being a free agent, could kind of force his way to the Knicks. He'd have a lot more control, a lot more power. It's like, would you rather get something or do you want nothing? Like, how do you want to approach this? Now, as far as the Knicks getting Paul George, I mean, that makes a world of sense. Philadelphia is the team that seems to be in the driver's seat, at least as of right now. We'll see. Time will tell. One, like I said, it depends on where Paul George wants to go, how he wants to approach this free agency. But Philly could just sign him outright, right? Where the Knicks, they would actually have to trade for him, which a team like the Clippers very likely may want to do something like that. The Clippers could look at it and go, yeah, let's get something. Something's better than nothing. So if the Knicks can kind of finagle their way into a Paul George, that would be insane because Paul George would help and be exactly what that team needs. A sizable, versatile, playmaking, scoring, defensive, two-way type star with his size and his abilities. I mean, he could play the 2 through 4 for them. Imagine a starting five of like Jalen Brunson, say Josh Hart, or DiVincenzo, whichever guy you want, OG Anunoby, Paul George, and like Mitchell Robinson. If you could do that, take Julius Randle, and you could throw in, say, a McBride. You could throw in a Jericho Sims and a bunch of draft picks, end up landing Paul George. I mean, they'd have to, again, kind of work some stuff out. But essentially, if you can land Paul George, you'd be one of the most versatile maybe the best team in the Eastern Conference, at least comparable and competitive as far as the Boston Celtics go. We'll see how they end up playing out this season. And also, if Boston kind of falls flat again, does Boston end up going, you know what, like maybe it's time to move off of Jaylen Brown or something, kind of retool that? It's kind of questions about that. But defensively, you'd be ridiculous. Obviously, Jalen Brunson is a defensive liability, but to have, say, a Josh Hart or DiVincenzo with an OG and then a Paul George and a Mitchell Robinson fully healthy, good luck trying to score on that team. That versatility, that team's ability to just kind of switch, and I just think that would be a very dangerous team. Paul George and his ability to hit just difficult shots and basically score from anywhere on the court when he's on. I mean, you're talking about a guy that is up there with the best of them. When he is just incredible at times when you're just watching him play. You're just like, wow, this is a real guy, right? But him alongside OG and Brunson specifically, I think would be very dynamic. Because now you have two big, sizable wings that can defend out on the perimeter. You pair him with, like I mentioned, Josh Hart. You can really kind of make up for the ailments that Brunson has on the defensive side. You have those kind of big, burly, multi-defensive type forwards that could really go a long way. And I just think that would add a ton of value. You get Jalen Brunson, that other star, that other guy that can take over down stretches, take a ton of pressure off of Jalen Brunson, guy that can be the guy when you need be. One of the big questions about him going to, say, Philly is, look, Embiid, he has had this history of just completely disappearing at times in the playoffs. And Paul George has had his ailments in the playoffs. Pandemic P, I mean, he's gotten some nicknames because of him at times not really showing up in the playoffs. You know who has shown up in the playoffs? Jalen Brunson. And so, in those games where Paul George just looks like he doesn't have it, and it's just like, what are we doing, PG? Well, now you have a Jalen Brunson who can kind of take over the offensive workload. Paul George kind of focus on the two-way side of the basketball, get his points where need be, but he doesn't have to dominate the basketball. Also, Paul George is kind of the ultimate Swiss Army knife type of player, right? His versatility, you need him to make some plays, he can make some plays. Need him to defend the best player on the other team, he can defend the best player on the other team. You need him to go drop 30, he'll drop 30. Need him to rebound, he'll rebound, right? Obviously, the injury concerns and the injury woes are a bit concerning with that, but it's just, I just think Paul George's upside would be far too much to pass up for what it could provide to the Knicks. Like, if you scoured the league for like a complimentary star to pair next to Brunson and OG and get somebody that can, have the potential of making the Knicks a contender, which I think you can make an argument the Knicks are already that. I think the Knicks personally might be the second best, fully healthy. Let me rephrase it. Fully healthy. I think that they might be the second best team in the East. Obviously, Milwaukee's Milwaukee. They have Joel Embiid or Giannis and Damian Lillard. The Sixers with Joel Embiid, they were cruising too. But I don't know if the Bucks clearly have their issues defensively. They're not really great. How Damian Lillard doesn't look like the same Dame now. Once he gets to the postseason, does that change? But I don't necessarily trust the Milwaukee Bucks. Same thing with the Sixers. It's like Tyrese Maxey, he's been great this year. I don't want to take anything away from him, but is he a guy that when Joel Embiid fails to show up for a series, he can kind of handle the workload and take over, right? That's a big concern. So I think if you add Paul George to the Knicks, good luck. If they're healthy, good luck. I mean, that versatility would be insane. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Paul George situation plays out. It's going to be interesting to see how, where's his head at in the offseason. Where is he planning on going? Does he want to go out east? Does he want to stay out west? Is there a team that he maybe is interested in and goes, oh man, there's several teams. I mean, even a team like the Indiana Pacers go back home, so to speak, and potentially team up with them, with Pascal Siakam and Halliburton, and kind of be that big physical wing that they really need. That could be very versatile. He's going to definitely have his options, right? He's still top premier player in this league, one of the better two-way guys in this league, that has the versatility, that can play and defend 2 through 4. He can even, on occasion switch and defend some point guards, right? Like, his versatility is very valuable and will be very valuable for most of the team. So, he's a guy that I do expect to really kind of be on a lot of contenders and sort of middle of the pack teams' radar of like, hey, maybe what about Paul George? Now, obviously, he is getting up there in age. The injury concerns is another big thing. So I would imagine that where he wants to go is going to be probably very limited. I don't think he's just going to be willing to go and sign wherever he can. Obviously, he's going to want to make some money. I don't see him just playing for, taxpayer mid-level or something. He's going to want to get a pretty significant bag. But at 33 years old, he's not going to want to go to he's not going to want to go to like the Pistons or something like that, right? He's going to want to go to a team that he feels like, okay, if you add me to that roster, you add me to that squad, we're winning, or at least have a very good chance. And I think a team like the Knicks is that team. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think that Paul George should go to the Knicks? Do you think the Knicks should try to work it out and get Paul George? Do you think no? Stay away from PG. Let him go elsewhere. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.